Hello, welcome back. Trying to sort of get a better setup here. So I've got a green screen, but I've got a few issues with trying to pin it up. Got a microphone, I'm not sure if it works half the time. Not very good with technology, as you probably guessed. Need to get better lighting here as well. Okay, so today I want to talk about a new book that I've released. It's called Chess Analysis Reloaded. So I did a video about another book that I released recently, which is called Gormally Battle Manual. This is kind of similar. Now, it is with a different publisher, and some people might say, why aren't you doing a book with the same publisher? Well, it's typical as a chess player, you move around a lot, and you often do books with different publishers. So I did this with Informat, Chess Informat, which is a very famous publication based in, I believe they're based in somewhere like Serbia. And does it give me the address actually? Sahovsky.com. But Chess Informat is very famous because they, back in the day you didn't have computers. So the way people got good, or the way they maintain their strength, is they buy a lot of informats. So a typical chess professional would pack their luggage with, diligent chess professional, like say for example Bobby Fischer, would put a lot of luggage, a lot of informat books in their luggage and carry that around to chess tournaments. And that publication still exists today. So the editor of Chess Informat is a guy called Igor, and he got in contact with me a few years ago. He said, I like your writing, I like what you've written, and would you be interested in writing something for Chess Informat? So that's how I got working with them, and I also did I've also collaborated with them on a book before, which was a book on the Magnus Carlsen versus Nepomniachtchi match. It was one of their better sellers actually, which you'd expect because of the World Championship. And so I did this book for them. It's called Chess Analysis Reloaded. And really, talk about this book. It does actually, it's a little bit of a mistake on the back cover. It says that I was born in South Shields. I wasn't born in South Shields. I think they got confused. It was a miscommunication. I was actually born in South East London. No, actually, I wasn't even born in South East London. Sorry, I was born in, I should know where I'm born, right? I was born in Hertfordshire. And we moved to South East London when I was about 2. And we lived in London anyway. We lived somewhere in London, and eventually we ended up in Lewisham. And I lived most of my life in Lewisham, and then eventually we moved to North East. So I've probably spent almost as long in the North East now. And yeah, so basically this book is like full of how different methods of analysis. I'm talking about different methods of analysis. I'm really talking about how my chess career went downhill a little bit because I sort of like lost the ability to analyse. So, for example, I say, how does a computer analyse? One of the lines I said, to be honest, annotating this game and trying to understand exactly where Moussard, with Jules Moussard, is a very famous French player, went wrong, seemed as hopeless a task as he must have felt he was facing at the end of the game when staring at a strategically hopeless position. Such is the challenge when annotating game from fresh that is not your own. This is why so many chess books are mainly composed of games of the authors themselves. It's not just an ego thing, although many like to show off their games and wins. It is also simply expedience. When trying to explain your own encounters, you have all the analysis and calculation that you have built up over several hours, which makes the annotation process that much easier. In the Kadrich-Moussard game, I was going in blank, and to be honest, it was tough. At the start of my analysis of that game, I had plenty of energy, but even so, I was still struggling to see where the mistake was actually made. So I'm really talking a lot in the book about how to analyse games, the mistakes that I make, the mistakes that you make, how you can overcome these mistakes. So I think it's useful from an analytical perspective, and obviously it's typical of my writing that there's a lot of stuff in there which is very autobiographical. So, for example, at one point I said, after the game with Adams, Michael Adams is obviously the strongest chess player in England, or one of the strongest chess players in England, being a very dominant player for many, many years. And talk about playing him in Cambridge. And I said, after the game with Adams, I started to question myself. People assume because you're a grandmaster, you've made it, and there is nothing left. I should, again, it's slight grammatical error. I should have checked that when I wrote the book. And there is nothing left to prove I should have written. It says here less, unfortunately. Honestly speaking, 99% of competing chess players would probably give their right finger to become a grandmaster. Or right arm, I should have written. To a certain extent, it is true that you've already made it, and for many years I believe this as well, but in more recent times my shaky form has started to get to me. You fall to a level that you feel doesn't reflect your true strength, and if I thought now that I'm doomed to hang around low 2400 level, or even lower for the rest of my career, I'd probably quit now. The only reason I keep going is a belief that I can do much better. So where can I improve? My calculation needs to sharpen up. As we will discuss and have been discussing in the course of this book, calculation and analysis is everything in chess. Very true, I think, yeah. Basically, I've said this many times, your results will stand and fall by the level of your chess analysis. You know, you can only bluff it for so long. And that's something I've experienced when I play people like Adams. You know, you can't bluff players like that because they can calculate just as well as you can, if not better. So you need something a bit extra. You can't get into this habit of bluffing and playing superficially. It's not, you know, and yeah, essentially you are as good as your analysis is. You know, you can't go beyond that. So you really, to get better as a chess player, you need to improve your analysis. Yeah, it says my calculations often sloppy in less than razor sharp because of the issue of rust. One of the things I've noticed, it's very true, I've mentioned this a few times, I've noticed is as I've grown older, it takes me a lot longer to warm up and shake off the rust. I don't know whether that is the case for other older players, but it's certainly the case for me. I think that's partly because a lot of my game is based on calculation and playing sharp positions. Other players like Keith Arkle play a more positional game and have all their systems worked out and play pretty much the same thing every game. They aren't really trying to improve. In that case, rust might not affect you as much. Richard Pert will say to me, if only I play more, my results will be a lot better. When I'll say I don't play enough either, he'll question this. Surely I'm a chess professional, he'll say. But the reality is, because of several issues like anxiety linked to fear of flying and lack of money, I simply never get on a roll and play enough tournaments. So there's a lot of this autobiographical stuff which goes into a lot of my books. So that's nothing new. Well, what you will get from this book, which is new, I would say, is yeah, really I'm honing in on the analysis and how to get better at and analysing how to get better, you know. And there's a really nice bit at the end, which is probably the favourite chapter I've ever written in a book, actually. And it's called Gorm's Impossible Quiz. So this cost me a lot of money because I ended up paying people to do this because I thought, well, they're chess professionals like me, right? And they don't want to just do this for free. You know, if I'm gonna get them to do it, I'll pay them some cash. But this ended up costing me over £600, which is probably pretty stupid. I mean, most of them would have done it for free anyway. But there's various people that took part in this quiz, and yeah, I could do with that £600 now. If you want to send me a bit of money, send me some cash, people, please. By the way, I do offer coaching as well. I will say now that my price is £50 an hour. So, if you want to get in contact with me coaching, there's quite a few people watched my coaching video and they said, "Oh, we're interested. We like your channel. Great, brilliant. We want some coaching." What I generally charge is £50 an hour. Now, the reason I charge £50 an hour is rather than less or more. Well, to be honest with you, a lot of Western-based grandmasters charge a lot more, and not even grandmasters. People much lower rated than me. Or IMs, for example, they'll charge a lot more than £50 an hour. That's actually quite a cheap rate. If I was based down in London and I was coaching regularly in London, individuals in London, I'd probably charge more than £50 an hour. But because I'm doing these lessons online, I feel that's about the right price. But from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of, for example, Indian GMs who are charging between £10 and £15 an hour. So they're really kind of making it hard for other people to make a living, because obviously they can get away with charging that much because they're much, you know, a much cheaper lifestyle in a way. I mean, the problem is with coaching is that where £50 an hour is a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but on the other hand, firstly, you're paying a premium for So I'll put that book away now. Anyway, you got the impression of it, but let's just talk a little bit about the coaching. You are paying a premium, but the thing is, I've spent years trying to get the GM title. I feel I've earned the right to charge that much. And the other thing is, when you're a chess professional, this is something that I've experienced and why I'm potentially maybe trying to maybe get a full-time job, is you don't do the hours that other people are doing. So if you're doing another job, yeah, you might only be getting paid £12 an hour or whatever, but you're doing 7-8 hours a day, every single day, that amounts to £300 odd a week. I might only get 1 or 2 lessons a week, chess lessons. So I'm only earning, you know, 50, like maybe £50 or £100 a week on average from coaching. Very little, not enough to really supplement an income or sustain like a lifestyle. So this is the thing, but it's not all about the money. Obviously, with the coaching, I'm trying to get people to improve. Most of the people I've worked with that I've helped have had an initial bump. They have improved. They've got to, you know, they've had a bump and they've improved initially. Now, the problem with coaching is people think it's the be-all and end-all. It's the same with writing. You know, you read books, you do coaching, whatever, but it's up to the player themselves to ultimately improve. You know, I can only help so much. If you aren't willing to put in that work, I never had any coaching when I was younger, and I got to GM. The reason I got to GM is I worked very hard on chess myself. I was obsessed with chess. So to get better, you need to be working hard. The coach is only really there to kind of guide you, to help you. They can help a little bit, but mostly it's down to yourself. Bear that in mind. And a lot of people get frustrated when they plateau, when they don't see immediate improvement, so they sack the coach, which in my opinion is a mistake. You see that in football as well. You don't get immediate results, they sack the manager, which is completely stupid, in my opinion. You're going to have periods where you don't improve as a chess player. I've spent the last 20 odd years not improving because I'm older. And I've already got to a reasonable level, and it's very hard to improve. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say about the coaching. I have had a lot of people contact me, and as soon as you say 50 quid an hour, you never hear from them again. So I just wanted to make it clear, that is what I charge. It's £50 an hour. However, there is a discount if you book more lessons. So that's another thing to bear in mind. But anyway, yeah, that's all good. So basically, this book is out, Chess Analysis Reloaded. I will put a link below to where you can purchase the book. Hopefully do a podcast on it or something at some point, or some kind of interview. But I would like to see the sales be pretty good, because obviously if you don't get good sales with these publishers, that is an issue, because then they go, well, look, if you come back to them and say, look, I'd like to write another book, they might not hire you again. So it's very important to have good sales. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, there's quite a lot of activity outside. It sounds like a van. Right. Cheers. Thank you. Bye.